Hi, this is Eric Kampmann and this is Sunrise. I told you about discovering this wonderful hymn at Gale Head Shelter called Morning Has Broken. The next day I remember hanging out at Gale Head. It's so beautiful there. It has a wonderful outlook over the Pemigewasset Wilderness, which is one of the most isolated parts of the White Mountains. But then I had to move on. We're on a schedule. We are all on a schedule, and I needed to get to the next place. So I climbed South Twin. South Twin is not straight up, but it's very steep. It's 1 mile high, almost to the inch. Got to the top, which has some of the most beautiful views in the Whites. And then moved on, and I was told by somebody on the trail that you really have to go to Gayo Shelter. Now, Gayo Shelter is off the trail. It's about 2 miles, mile and a half off the trail. So I take the rumor up that this is a great shelter and go there. And like remembering Morning Has Broken, Gayo Shelter is embedded in my memory too as a place I long to return to. I was alone there. It had a great outlook when I woke up in the morning. The weather was good. It's very isolated. I just loved it. And I've returned there many times, but one time I returned there, it was not an unexpected pleasure. It was very, very challenging and extremely dangerous. I decided I was hiking the 48 4,000 footers at that time, and I decided in March to try to reach the Bonds, Bond and Bond Cliff and West Bond. And you have to come up the Appalachian Trail to do that, and I had my brother David and my son Alex with me. What I did not anticipate is the snow at that time of year is about 50 inches deep. Not every year, but this year it was. We were on snowshoes, progressed very slowly, and by the time we got to the top of Gayo Mountain, it was dark and it was blizzarding. And I thought I knew how to get there, so we found the intersection where there was a sign and we moved towards Gayo Shelter, but the weather was terrible. I went and hunted for the intersection that would take you down to Gayo, found it, but I could never find the shelter. The next morning I discovered that the shelter was under so much snow that a 20-foot drop in front of the shelter, you could walk on it. The snow had accumulated that much. But that night we had no shelter, and all we could do is bivouac. And that is just putting out your sleeping bag, finding or creating a more or less a shelf in the snow and going to bed. The next morning, the temperatures were around 20 to 0. 20 degrees to 30 degrees in the wintertime is not that bad, but at the nighttime, it was a little uncomfortable. Strangely enough, we discovered this shelter the next day because we could see it, the roof of it, covered totally with snow. But that was a return to Gayo after the memories of it in a very different way. But the memories of the second trip were just as amazing because it was a very different place with very different realities to it. This is Eric Kampmann, and this is Sunrise.